I again thank Jay Ranjan for joining us in the inaugural, and we are joined by a very special guest from the state of Kerala. We're joined by Mr. Manoj Abraham, a very senior IPS officer. He's currently the Additional Director General of Police, Kerala Police. We welcome Mr. Manoj. Thank you so much for joining us. And he'll be speaking about fostering PPP model in enhancing cyber security in India. Over to you, Mr. Manoj Abraham.
Thank you very much. It's indeed an honor to come and speak at this conference with such eminent panelists, including my senior Padjosi sir also, on a very relevant topic of cyber security, which is one of the most potent things that we need to speak of, because the world has gone digital, and as the eminent panelists have spoken up before me also, that we are in a world which has accelerated the digitalization of the society, and cybersecurity has become more relevant than any other security now. The most crucial element of national security is now cybersecurity, because the nature of the attacks itself in the world has changed from, say, the suicide bombs and other things to the critical infrastructure with cyber weapons as such. You have now pipelines being attacked, you have the national power grids being attacked, because you can cause greater damage to a country's economy if you use a cyber weapon, which is totally inexpensive, and you can sit anywhere in any part of the globe and attack any country. So these kinds of players, the nation states coming into the cyber attack realm, has really made the critical infrastructure prone to cyber attacks, which makes it more important as to how do we secure it. Now, the topic given to me is basically private-public participation in cybersecurity, which Kerala Police has been doing for quite a while, successful model. And it's very crucial because we know the critical infrastructure cannot be secured just by the public sector itself, because most of the solutions, most of the platforms are supplied by the private sector first. So we require partnership. It is not like the traditional world. If you look at the policing aspect also, in the physical world, the police department itself, we try to be confidential. We try to maintain that privacy aspect, saying that it is all in the realm of the policing, so we don't involve in any private sector or any member of the public in that policing crucial activity. But when it comes to cyber security or investigation of cyber crimes, you understand that without those partnerships, you really can't do anything. You really fail in the digital world, because the digital world is a very different world. It's a rapidly changing world. The technological aspects make it all the more important that you require those partnerships, and it is securing ourselves. If everybody secures themselves, then the task of the policing also becomes easy. That's how in Kerala we came out with the concept of Cyberdome, which is a public-private partnership initiative in cybersecurity. It's a very unique kind of thing. When we started off 6 years back, there were doubts raised whether such an initiative would be successful or not, because to make people understand that you can actually coordinate, partner with the private sector for enhancing cybersecurity was not really understood in the real sense of the word. And when we went in, it was a difficult time. But over the last 6 to 7 years, we have really proved to the other forces and to the world that private-public participation can very successfully be implemented in the arena of cybersecurity. We are actually partnered. The concept of Cyberdome is basically we partner with all the stakeholders, because we believe that everybody safe is safe for the police. So everything is safe. So we actually are connected with the banks, all the banking sector. We know the most crucial attacks are on the banking sector. You have cyber frauds, you have banking frauds happening. So we are one police force connected to all the banks under the RBI ambit, where we work on a 24/7 basis, trying to prevent these frauds and crimes from happening. And we have been very successful in this regard. Recently, the project was upgraded to the Government of India level also. Similarly, we are actually connected to all the government departments also. Everybody on the digital platform getting online services to the citizens. We actually are tied up to ensure that their resources, their platforms, their software, their websites are secure enough. So we keep on conducting mapped analysis, the vulnerability testing, etc., and to see that their platforms, their systems, their online the projects, portals, etc., are very secure and there is no attacks on them. Then we are connected to various kinds of stakeholders like students, the mobile technicians, the internet service providers, the film industry, because a lot of films are now getting online, and it's mostly the online broadcast that happens. So we have even tied up with the film industry to ensure that their films don't go pirated on the online platform. And so every stakeholder that is connected to the online platform is connected to us. So it has helped us in a great regard, because cybercrime, as we all know, it's very difficult to go and detect that crime, because you can actually sit anywhere in any part of the globe and really hack into a system or damage a system. So what we try to do is we try to prevent the cybercrime from happening, which is so very important. We actually tie up with all these stakeholders in the digital world and try to prevent these cybercrimes from happening. So that is a very successful model which has been running in Kerala, and of course it has to be expanded to the national framework also, because in any area where the digital resources are there, where the public and private sector is interacting, because when you have any national resource, national critical infrastructure also, everywhere the private and public sector are coming together. So we need to build that trust, because the trust factor is very important, where we need to coordinate and ensure that we work together to that means of ensuring the criticality of the structure is safe. And this is a constant cat and mouse game also, because in the digital world, nothing is secure for a particular point of time. It's secure now, and you have new malwares and ransomwares coming in that can get into your system. So it's a constant cat and mouse game, where you have to upgrade your system, where you have to work together and ensure the critical infrastructure is safe. So it's a very useful model. We need to really coordinate. The stakeholders need to come together. Though there may be failures, many models have failed also in this world, but the public-private participation is a very crucial element in cybersecurity, and that is what we need to adopt for the future also, when the world goes more digital and more virtual. So that is what I have wanted to say. Thank you once again for the opportunity that you have given me. It's a great conference, and all the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Manoj Abraham, Additional Director General of Police, Kerala Police. You talked about cyber domain. Sometimes we hear that there is always that government departments or government officials are working in silos. Some complaint always come. But the cyber dome, I think, one of the finest examples where a lot of stakeholders are coming together, from government, from cybersecurity experts, from banking, NGOs, all coming together, and industry coming together to ensure uh, 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 an effective cybersecurity model. Uh, just to ask you one question, Mr. Manoj Abraham, that what has been, if you just can highlight one of the success stories of Cyberdome operations in the recent past.
Basically, in the present pandemic situation, also one of the problems that came up primarily because everybody was locked up in the house with the children also going with online education. One of the crucial problems worldwide that has come is online crimes against children, and this is basically because the so-called pedophiles and they were online, and of course the children were also online. So this the Interpol itself has calculated that there was a 400% increase in online crimes against children. So what we did, we actually tied up with a lot of, because online crimes against children is a crime without borders. You can sit anywhere. As I mentioned, online crimes are all like that. So what we did, we tied up with all these organizations working towards child protection, including the various NGOs functioning around the world in Kerala, Bachpan Bachao Andolan. We actually work with various international agencies, including the Interpol, the NICMAC, ICMAC, where we built a platform where we actually identify. They gave us a lot of software. The NGOs came in to identify a lot of child victims, to rehabilitate them. And we started a drive called the P Hunt, and internationally recognized. We had the P Hunt drive coming off in the last 18 months, where we arrested more than 452 pedophiles from around the state into these online crimes, trying to upload and download CSAM material, which we call it. And then these NGOs also tied up with us, giving us the crucial information. The NICMEC and ICMEC are international organizations working from the US and Canada, who passed on the critical information, the software to us to identify these crimes, because everybody moves with encryptions. And it's very difficult for the normal police department to really identify those guys. So they provided the social infrastructure, the NGOs provided the support for rehabilitation of these child victims. So we had a very successful project running, which is an example to follow. So it's basically the police, not the police department working in silos and doing it. It's all together, the international agencies, the NGOs, the agencies working for child security, the Indian organizations, Bachchan Bachao Andolan, the ICPF, etc., coming together, working together on one platform to ensure that our children are safe, both on the online platform and offline. So that was a very successful model which we did recently.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Mr. Manoj Abraham, for shedding some light on one of the successful PP models for cybersecurity state of Kerala and the successful model of Cyber Dome. Thank you so much, Mr. Manoj Abraham, for joining us in the inaugural.